and welcome back, guys, to Speak English Confidently, the podcast from Master English Hub. I'm Eve.
And I'm Adam. Before we dive into today's big topic, if you're serious about transforming your English speaking skills, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We post in-depth guides just like this one every single week, and you won't want to miss a thing.
It's the easiest way to make sure you're on the path to fluency with us. Okay, so Adam, let's get started.
Let's do it. We're going to start today with a question. So, you can understand every word of your favorite English TV show. You can read articles without a problem, and you can follow along with podcasts just like this one. But the second it's your turn to speak, your mind goes completely blank. Sound familiar? You have all these amazing, smart, funny thoughts in your head, but they just get stuck. They get trapped behind this wall of fear and hesitation.
It's one of the most frustrating feelings for any English learner, and Adam and I hear it all the time from our students at Master English Hub. It's this invisible barrier that makes you feel like you're not making any progress, no matter how many words you memorize. But what if we told you that the secret to speaking freely isn't about learning more vocabulary? It's not about studying more grammar rules. It's about breaking one single mental habit. And today, in this full, in-depth episode, we're not just going to tell you exactly what that habit is. We're going to give you the practical, step-by-step tools to finally break it and start speaking English with the confidence you absolutely deserve.
All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's name this huge barrier that's holding so many of you back. Eve, what is this one mental habit we're talking about?
The habit is translating in your head. It's that constant running calculation where you come up with a thought in your native language, mentally translate it word for word into English, and only then do you try to speak. On the surface, it sounds logical, right? It feels like the safe way to build a sentence. But in reality, it's the single biggest fluency killer.
It's an absolute fluency killer. You know, this reminds me of a story that perfectly illustrates this. A few years ago, I was in a new city, trying to find my way around, and I stopped at this little independent coffee shop. The line was long, and I was rehearsing my order in my head, translating it. I would like a large black coffee with no sugar. Simple, right? But I was so focused on getting the words perfect that I was completely in my own head. When I finally got to the front, the barista, who was super friendly, looks at me and says, "Hey, how's it going? Rough morning, or are you just a coffee purist?" And I just froze. My brain completely short-circuited.
Because that wasn't in your script.
Exactly. All my careful translation went right out the window because a real live human asked me an unscripted question. I just mumbled something like, "Coffee, black, paid," and got out of there. I missed a chance for a real human connection because I was stuck in translation mode. That little interaction taught me a huge lesson. Conversation is a dance, not a math problem, and translating in your head makes you miss the music.
That's such a perfect way to put it. The translation trap, as we call it, creates two huge problems that destroy your conversational flow. The first is speed. The process of thinking, translating, and then speaking is just too slow for a real conversation. By the time you've built your perfect sentence, the conversation has already moved on. You're always 3 steps behind. It's like you're trying to watch a movie, but you've put your own personal 5-second delay on the audio. You'll get the information, but you'll completely miss the experience.
You'll miss all the jokes, for sure.
And the second problem is context, and just how unnatural it sounds. Languages aren't just different words for the same things. They have different structures, different idioms, and different cultural feelings. Word-for-word translation often creates sentences that are grammatically correct, but sound totally weird or robotic to a native speaker. Idioms almost never translate directly, so you end up sounding like a machine, which, of course, makes you feel even more self-conscious and less confident.
Exactly. You end up focusing so hard on the grammar and the individual words that you miss the whole point of talking to someone, which is connection. No one is waiting for you to deliver a grammatically flawless sentence. They're just waiting to connect with you. And you can't do that if you're stuck inside your head running a translation program. So the first and most critical step to speaking confidently is to shut down that internal translator.
Okay, so we've identified the enemy, the translation trap. The next logical question is, great, but how do I actually stop doing it? It feels so automatic. It's a habit you've probably had since day one of learning. You can't just flip a switch and turn it off.
You can't, but you can build a new, stronger habit to take its place. And that new habit is learning to think directly in English. This is the ultimate goal. When your thoughts happen in English, your speech will naturally flow in English. So, let's get into some real practical strategies to build this new mental muscle. The first one is a technique I call the association method.
I love this one. Break it down for us.
The association method is all about rewiring your brain. Right now, when you see a chair, your brain might go, physical object, your native word for chair, English word chair. There's that extra slow step in the middle. The goal is to create a direct link. Physical object, English word chair. To do this, you have to consciously connect English words not to their translation, but to the actual thing, image, or feeling itself.
So instead of using your native language as the bridge, you're building a direct highway in your mind.
Precisely. Let's take a simple word like rain. Instead of memorizing rain equals your native word for rain, I want you to close your eyes and think about the idea of rain. Picture the gray sky. Hear the sound of drops hitting the window. Feel the cool air. Smell that fresh after the rain scent. Then you attach the English word rain directly to that whole sensory experience. You're now linking rain to an idea, not to another word.
This makes so much sense. It's about making the language part of your actual experience. You can turn this into a really simple, active exercise we call object narration. It's so easy. You can do it right now. Look around whatever room you're in. Point to an object. Say its name in English. Laptop. Then, add one simple descriptive sentence. This is my laptop. Point to another. Mug. My mug is white. Point to another. Window. I am looking out the window.
It might feel incredibly basic, even a little silly at first. But what you're doing is performing a crucial neurological task. You're forcing your brain to skip the translation step and make a direct connection between the concept and the English word. Do this for just a few minutes every day. In your office, in your kitchen, on a walk. You'll be amazed at how quickly your brain starts to jump to the English word first.
And that leads perfectly into the second and maybe most powerful strategy for thinking in English: developing an internal monologue. This is your secret weapon. It's your private practice space where there's no pressure, no judgment, and no fear. An internal monologue is just talking to yourself, inside your own head, using English.
It sounds a little strange, but it is a game changer.
It really is. And you start small. The next time you're doing a simple, routine task, like making breakfast, just narrate it. But keep the language super simple. You're not trying to be Shakespeare. Just be a narrator. Okay, it's morning. I'm walking to the kitchen. I feel tired. I want some coffee. I'm opening the cupboard. Here is the coffee. I need a mug.
You're essentially giving your brain a constant, low-stakes English workout. You're getting it used to the rhythm and the feeling of English being the operating system for your thoughts. And when you do this, you'll inevitably run into a word you don't know. Let's say you're cooking and you don't know the word for spatula. Don't stop. Just describe it. I need that flat thing for flipping the eggs. You've kept the flow going. Later, you can look up the word spatula, and because you have a real, tangible experience linked to it, you are way more likely to remember it.
Exactly. The goal of the internal monologue isn't perfection. It's practice. It's making English the language of your daily thoughts. If you can think, "I'm thirsty," in English, you are just one tiny step away from being able to say, "I'm thirsty," without any translation or hesitation at all. It builds that direct path from thought to speech.
Speaking of building these new pathways, we know that starting a new habit can be the hardest part. It's tough to know where to begin and how to stick with it.
That's exactly why we created the Master English Hub Fluency Journal. It's a 30-day guided journal with daily prompts designed specifically to help you build the habits of object narration and internal monologuing. Each day gives you a new simple focus, helping you turn these strategies into an automatic part of your routine. It takes all the guesswork out of it. If you're ready to finally start building that habit of thinking directly in English, you can check it out with the link in the description. It's a powerful tool to go along with the strategies we're talking about today.
Okay, so we're working on rewiring our brains to think directly in English. That's the internal work, but we can't ignore the moment of truth. When you're face-to-face with another person and that little voice of fear and panic starts to creep in. Even if you're trying to think in English, the pressure of a live conversation can make you freeze up.
This is where we need to shift our perspective. You don't need to be a perfect fluent speaker to have a confident conversation. You just need the right tools. We call this your conversational toolkit. Having these tools ready to go makes you feel prepared and lowers that speaking anxiety. So let's open up the toolbox. What's the first tool, Adam?
Tool number 1 is the power of phrases. So many learners focus on memorizing single words. Interesting, good, agree. But native speakers don't really talk in single words. We talk in chunks or phrases. Learning whole phrases is a complete game changer for fluency. It massively reduces the mental energy you have to spend building sentences from scratch.
Can you give us some examples of what you mean?
Absolutely. Instead of just learning the word opinion, learn the phrase from my perspective or the way I see it is. Instead of the word agree, learn that's a great point or I see what you mean. Think about phrases that buy you time to think, like, that's an interesting question. Let me think for a second. Or phrases to ask for clarification. Could you explain what you mean by that? Or, so if I'm understanding you correctly.
These are like conversational building blocks.
Exactly. When you have a toolbox full of these phrases, you don't have to build everything from zero. You can grab a pre-made component, which gives your brain a second to breathe and think about the next thing you want to say. It's the difference between building a house brick by brick versus using larger pre-made walls. It's faster, more efficient, and the result is much stronger.
That's a fantastic tool. And my first tool for the toolkit goes with it perfectly. It's about realizing that confidence isn't just about what you say. So my tool is positive interjections and confident body language. So much of communication has nothing to do with the words you choose. You can project huge confidence and keep a conversation flowing without saying much at all.
You mean things like nodding and smiling?
Yes, but it's even more active than that. While the other person is speaking, use small positive interjections to show you're engaged. Simple things like, right, uh-huh, oh wow, really? Or interesting. These tiny words are incredibly powerful. They tell the speaker, I'm with you, I'm listening, keep going. This does two things. First, it makes the other person feel great, which makes the conversation warmer. Second, it takes all the pressure off of you. You don't have to be constantly worrying about the perfect thing to say next. You can just listen and react honestly. Pair that with good body language, making eye contact, leaning in a bit, nodding, and you will seem 100% confident, even if you're internally searching for a word.
That is so crucial. It's about participating in the energy of the conversation, not just the vocabulary. Which brings me to the third and maybe the most foundational tool in the whole kit, the mindset shift to embrace imperfection. This isn't just a tool, it's the whole philosophy you need to adopt. The fear of speaking doesn't come from your lack of words, it comes from your fear of making a mistake.
The fear of being judged.
Exactly. We have this idea that to speak, we must speak perfectly, and it is this perfectionism that paralyzes us. So the tool here is to consciously give yourself permission to be imperfect. I want everyone listening to repeat after me, either out loud or in your head. The goal of conversation is connection, not perfection.
One more time. The goal of conversation is connection, not perfection.
Native speakers make mistakes all the time. We use the wrong words, we start sentences we can't finish, we use terrible grammar. But we don't freeze, because we're not focused on the mistakes. We're focused on the message. You need to grant yourself that same grace. Understand that making a mistake isn't a failure. It's a sign that you are trying, learning, and bravely stepping out of your comfort zone. Every mistake is just a learning opportunity, not a reason for shame.
And part of that mindset shift is learning to reframe your feelings. That nervous, heart-pounding feeling you get before you speak English, don't call it fear. Relabel it as excitement. It's the exact same physical response. Your body is getting ready for something important. Telling yourself, I'm excited to use my English, instead of, I'm scared to make a mistake, can completely change how you experience the conversation. Okay, so we've thrown a lot at you. We've talked about the internal work of breaking the translation habit and filled our conversational toolkit with real-world strategies. But just knowing this stuff isn't enough. The real power comes from doing it, from being consistent. So, how do we put all of this into a simple routine you can actually manage?
This is the most important part, because consistency beats intensity every single time. A huge 5-hour study session on a Sunday is way less effective than 15 minutes of focused practice every day. The goal is to make these strategies a non-negotiable part of your daily life, just like brushing your teeth.
So let's build a simple 15-minute daily routine that anyone can follow, no matter how busy you are. It's just 3 small steps. Step 1. 5 minutes of internal monologue. Start your day with it. While you're making coffee or getting dressed, just activate your English brain. Narrate what you're doing in simple English. I'm putting on my shoes. These are my black shoes. I need to go to work today. 5 minutes, that's it. You're setting the stage for your brain to think in English for the rest of the day.
Step 2. Learn one new conversational phrase. Not a word, a phrase. You can find lists online, or even better, just pay attention to the shows or podcasts you listen to. Did a character say something that sounded natural? Maybe it was, I'll get back to you on that. Or, to be honest, write it down. Say it out loud 5 times. Your goal for the day is to find one chance to use it, even if it's just in your head. This is how you actively build your conversational toolkit.
I love that. And finally, step 3. Create one unplanned speaking moment. This is about pushing your comfort zone, just a tiny bit. It doesn't have to be a 30-minute debate. It can be incredibly small. Order your coffee in English. Ask a stranger for the time in English. If you have a pet, tell your dog about your day for 60 seconds. The point is to have one moment where you use your English in a spontaneous, unscripted way. This trains you to handle the unpredictability of real conversation and proves to yourself that you can do it.
That's it. 5 minutes of monologue, one new phrase, one unplanned moment. That's your 15-minute daily workout. It's small, it's achievable, and it's so powerful. If you do this every single day, you are not just learning English. You are rewiring your brain and building the unshakable habit of confidence.
We've covered so much today, and we really hope you're feeling a sense of clarity and maybe even excitement. It all really boils down to a few core ideas. The biggest thing holding you back is that translation trap. It's slow, it sounds unnatural, and it disconnects you from the real conversation.
And the solution is to actively build the habit of thinking directly in English with simple daily exercises like the internal monologue. For those moments of fear, you open your conversational toolkit. You use phrases, not just words. You use your body language. And most importantly, you embrace the mindset that connection is always more important than perfection.
You already have everything you need to be a confident English speaker. The knowledge is in there. The thoughts are in there. It's not about adding more and more information. It's about unlocking what you already have. Your voice, your ideas, and your personality are valuable. They deserve to be shared. The world is waiting to hear from you.
And we want to hear from you right now. If this conversation helped you today, let us know in the comments below. What's the one tip or strategy that really clicked with you? What's the one thing you're going to try first? Sharing your commitment is a powerful first step. And of course, if you found this valuable, please give this a like and subscribe to Master English Hub so you never miss an episode. We're here to help you on every step of your fluency journey. Thanks so much for listening.